official. The satire outlet The Onion has acquired conspiracy theorist Alex Jones' far-right media website and platform. InfoWars was auctioned off Wednesday, along with other of Jones' assets to help pay families of the Sandy Hook Elementary School shooting. Here was Jones reacting this morning.
They said they're shutting us down, even without a court order. This morning, the Connecticut Democrats with The Onion newspaper bought us. They asked, did they outbid? They said, well, it was competitive. So they changed all the bidding rules, made it secret 2 days ago. I had a bad feeling I told you that. And just like they tried to shut us down back in late May without a court order, they're supposed to have a court order. There's going to be injunctions filed. I'm about to go live out of Harrison's American Journal studio. I don't know what's going to happen, but I'm going to be here until they come in here and turn the lights off.
For context, teenager Adam Lanza opened fire inside Sandy Hook Elementary School in 2012, killing 20 first graders and 6 teachers.
In the years following the tragic shooting, Jones repeatedly alleged that the Sandy Hook massacre was a hoax. The families sued for defamation, and in 2023 he was ordered to start paying the $1.5 billion a jury awarded those families. A judge did allow the InfoWars founder to liquidate his assets, and on Wednesday bidding started, auctioning off those assets.
Reactions poured in with respect to the acquisition. Left-leaning Berkeley professor Robert Reich posted, quote, "The Onion just bought Alex Jones InfoWars after he was forced to sell it due to a defamation suit from Sandy Hook parents. Last month, Rudy Giuliani had to give his luxury apartment and all his valuables to poll workers he defamed. Can defamation law end right-wing lies?" Trump delegate Mike Crispy wrote, "There's no way The Onion, a publication that hasn't been relevant in 15 years, was able to afford to purchase InfoWars. Who laundered them the money to do this? Attorney General Gates will get to the bottom of it. Good luck, libs." And Matt Shermer wrote, quote, "When The Onion takes over InfoWars, you know we are finally living in the Matrix." So, Alex Jones having to sell these assets to The Onion. The Onion, a satire website that for many, many years I thought was utterly and absolutely hysterical. I think its quality decreased somewhat in the last several years, and it was bought by a group of individuals, including a former NBC journalist, Ben Collins, who I will admit that I do not like very much, whose reporting I found was characteristic of the very worst sort of panic about misinformation and disinformation and all that. But maybe he's better off as a steward of a funny website. They did do a funny election video. Did you see that?
I didn't see that.
It was actually a pretty good video. And I loved the Onion's Onion News Network television show. Do you remember the morning show?
Yeah.
It's like our morning show.
Exactly.
The light banter between the guy and the girl who just kind of hate each other. And
I know. I'm showing my age now, but I can't remember the guy who was the accounts manager who spoke in a kind of hip-hop argot about all the people he was going to kill 20 years ago, which was accounts payable guy. One of our viewers, if they're my age or older, will remember who that was. Look, The Onion in its prime, which was a long, long prime, was fantastic. I loved it, and it was consistently high quality for a very long time. I don't have massively strong views on it acquiring InfoWars. Alex Jones is somebody who I think, well, not that you're a big defender of his, but I'm a particularly scathing critic of his because I find him just an appalling individual, really, and that defamation case that he ended up getting a $1 billion plus judgment against him, I thought was quite justified. I know you have a different view on that. To my mind, he defamed people who were already suffering just immense emotional grief and did so in a disgusting way, and I think knew that he was lying for his own gain, and I think people like that rightly face punishment in the courts by a jury of their peers. The Onion buying it and shutting it down, I mean, I have no objection to it. The guy who was alleging that, you know, The Onion had to use laundered money, I mean, I don't know what the basis for that claim is, but a InfoWars-less world would not be a poorer world, in my opinion.
Yeah, look, I'm not going to lose sleep over Alex Jones having to sell off things to people he said lies about. I have skepticism of defamation law overall, and I don't know, my eyebrows go up a little bit at people having to pay such eye-popping fees for wrong, bad, untrue speech, but nevertheless speech. He was not the one who killed those. Sometimes people act like what he did was worse than the actual murders that took place at that school. It's not. It's still just speech. But he did commit defamation, and he was found guilty, and that's fine and appropriate. And I don't care if the Onion buys the stuff or anyone else. Yeah.
I mean, I just think that the scale and the emotional nature of the defamation was what led to such a massive amount of an award against him. Like if he had, I don't know, if he'd accused somebody of, stealing some candy, he wasn't going to get a $1.5 billion defamation award against him. He did it because those people who had already lost children in the most horrific circumstances imaginable then had to deal with harassment, essentially, from followers of his.
We'll say that at least defamation law is a tort. This is civil. This is a sort of I've heard arguments. This is getting into like more fringe, like libertarian political legal philosophy. But at least civil law is a kind of market derived, or it derives from tradition and what case law says about that, rather than being a top-down government dictate that you cannot say this, you will incur criminal penalties for saying this, or even in terms of like the deplatforming of people, which is not explicitly done by government, it's done by the social media platforms themselves, although sometimes it's done at the behest of government. That's all a little, this is less sketchy than that, because this is, a jury of your peers deciding it, and it's not criminal, he's not going to jail for this, he's paying a somewhat market process derived consequence for having made these people's lives so miserable. So I'm, again, as I said, I'm not losing sleep over it. I mostly find Alex, although I was, not the victim of some horrible things that he said, I find his impressions very funny. Have you ever seen his impression of Hillary Clinton?
I try to avoid Alex Jones.
It's very, very amusing.
I've made up my mind about Alex Jones a long time ago, and however pointed his impressions, I don't think they're going to change my view of the man. I just think he's one of the absolute worst people in American public life.
Well, you tell us, viewers, what you think. We've got a lot more to discuss on Rising today. Stay with us.